right. So, welcome to a special Wednesday edition of the Fragments of Silicon reviews. Owing mainly to the fact that it's E3 week, and we were kind of busy on Sunday covering all the conferences. Like, that took a long time and a lot of energy.
Yes.
Again,
E3 week is our hell week.
What we covered 3 conferences, 2 one after the other. After that, I was just not feeling up to recording, more stuff that day.
Record all the things.
And Wednesday provided for a convenient recording time because, once again, E3 week, people are busy. People are often too busy to attend a program like this on E3 week. Especially with our lack of reach, let's say. Anyway, up this week, 2 reviews, first of which is Red Trigger. And also, what might be a recurring theme in the weeks ahead is free games. Like E3 week affects a lot of stuff. One of which is also code distribution. Haven't got as many codes as we usually get. That's not to say we are entirely lacking them, just not as many as usual. So sometimes free games fill the gap. And with this one, Red Trigger, this is a first-person puzzle game. The creation of one, I'm probably going to garble this. Yeah, it's a foreign name. Maxime Vizina. I think that's how that's pronounced. Galix, do you have a better interpretation here?
I don't see it. I think that sounds probably pretty much right.
Here, I'll link the Steam page, and you can tell us. Once again,
Insert joke about live research here.
Well, it's not necessarily live research. It's more Galix is the linguist, so especially when it comes to foreign tongues.
Yeah, Vezina, which I think that's a woman's name.
I think so.
I could be wrong, but
I assumed as much.
Yeah. Anyway, not sure if this is a student I don't think this is a student project. It's just and not even a one-person development either, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people credited in various roles. Not all developments. We got a voice credit here. Because, okay, in case you haven't noticed, this game is in the vein of Portal, but, it's not really aping Portal, if that makes any sense.
It's the same idea of a first-person puzzle shooter, but it's a lot more minimalistic in aesthetic. Honestly, I found the options you get with what actions you have available to you significantly more limited than in Portal.
Yeah. Well,
Portal 2 also did that. But also, this game doesn't have nearly... I'm not even going to say as good writing. It doesn't have nearly as much writing.
Yeah. I mean, its premise is also pretty close to Portal, as, you are the player that incarcerates a virus called the Red Trigger and tries to corrupt a computer system. And that's what those red pillars and such are. That's you messing about with the virus. It's just, this game is not really built for storytelling. It's built for speedrunning.
Yeah.
Because it's a short game. It's it can take you about 40 minutes, an hour, maybe more if you're not familiar with this. Granted, I didn't actually complete the game, but that's more because it's an independent production. That you get wonkiness on something like this that you will not get on, more fully funded projects.
Yeah.
That is to say, I encountered a pillar that would not push me properly. Like the physics weren't working properly on it. Which is, once again, that is definitely the kind of thing that you will encounter on the small indie projects that you won't see on higher grade or things that have QA on them, let's say. I'm not saying that this thing didn't, but once again, there were some wonky spots.
And the again, since it's pretty much all red pillars, there's a lot of it is like either making platforms or shooting yourself up, and or shooting yourself up to make something and then making something hit you so that you then go flying. Honestly, the first few chunks of this game are pretty fun and simple, but once you start getting into the actual really timed stuff, it gets significantly trickier. Because once you're hurrying, the controls are not super snappy all the time, and sometimes there's like weird physics stuff. Like in the first timed room, there's a place where you have to like shoot a platform in front of you and jump up onto it. And I kept getting knocked off by that thing because I just could not get the timing right. So
yeah.
Like I said, the game isn't especially brain teasing. Like, this is more about how fast you can complete, because the game is only comprised of 8 levels. You can also skip levels if you so desire, though there is an achievement for like completing the game in one go. Though seriously, like, you can complete a level in like a couple of minutes. And getting back to the aesthetical values of the game, if there's an invocation to be made here, it's not Portal, it's Mirror's Edge. Seriously, it's got the it's got the colors, it's got the it's got the red on white look of that game. Just instead of taking place in a city, it's taking place in a computer, I think. Also, another thing to keep in mind in terms of the gameplay is your ammunition, because you only get 3 shots before you have to reload. And
although it's phrasing it as shooting and loading is a little bit, it makes you think it works a little bit differently than it did, because at any time you can reload by right-clicking. But when you do, it undoes the activations that your 3 shots have done.
That's what I was getting at.
And also, you can also shoot something that has been shot again to get the energy back.
Well, I mean, you are still doing the actions of you are shooting a laser and you are reloading that laser ammo. It's just, it's not bullets. It doesn't operate the same way, and there are no enemies either. It's pure puzzle action here. So if you're looking for something non-violence as well, that's here, unless you've got a problem with dying from long falls, I guess. It's like you still encounter a fail state of death, but you'll boot right back at the last checkpoint.
Long falls or bizarrely abstract lava.
Yeah. Now, in terms of graphical fidelity, the game looks looks pretty impressive for a freeware indie title. I mean, I'll note that this game was in development for a few years, and only reached final release last year. Apparently, I know it says 2016 on the Steam page, but I think that was the first release. If I'm remembering the notations here, Now, you know, and as far as how the controls and all of that worked, they worked perfectly well. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like, no complaints on that. It's just, my big issue was there's unfortunately a bit of a lack of polish here. And
Yeah.
in my experience, that was related to the physics. Like, I didn't. There wasn't also the problem with the physics not working. There was the physics overworking. Like, there was one room where I was apparently on moon gravity, and I managed to blow through 3/4 of the puzzles there. Good speed running, because the actual physics, the gravity wasn't working properly on the pillar. Like, a good speed running tactic, I'm sure, but I'm like, that didn't really seem to be the developer's intention, which is why I was confused there. Because I'm like, okay, wait, I'm here. What was all that other stuff for? Oh, okay, that just wasn't working properly. Once again, I'm willing to overlook such things because it's a small game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's a freeware title. It's like there were clearly restraints on resources here, but it does get more clever as you go along. It's just, once again, it's a very short ride. Let's see. Music, nothing really to speak of. This is something that's really kind of done in silence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and in terms of systems, Windows only. Like, there's no Mac or Linux ports, because that would have been additional resources, and there's, it's a team that only has so many.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Yeah. Apparently, this game was apparently done 7 days a week for 15 weeks. This was a spare time project. Like, and once again, the price is free, so there's no monetary investment. Is it worth your time? Sure, I think so. Especially since it's not going to waste much of it. By its own admission, this game will probably take you about an hour to finish first time around. Maybe a little longer, maybe a little shorter, but it's not really meant to be, a 10-hour AAA tour de force either. Anyway, overall, Red Trigger gets a stamp of recommended.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's really no point in touching like a numerical value or anything beyond that because, it's a free game.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't like it, you didn't want to put any money into it.
Yeah, if you didn't like it, then, you can just move on. You didn't, literal no investment outside of time. And, I think it's time well spent.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, any last words on Red Trigger here?
Don't play it if you're allergic to the color white.
Yeah, there's a lot of clinical white. But, yeah, I enjoyed it. If you want a game to test your reflexes and that's in your puzzle solving skills, I say go for it.
Okay then. So that'll about do it for Red Trigger here. Be sure to tune in after a short break where we'll be talking about Sniper Elite V2 Remastered.